Welcome back to our strength conditioning series for blind athletes. I'm Evan, the blind strength coach, and today we are talking about blind football or blind soccer. Now, when we're thinking about this sport, it actually requires a lot of different abilities that we're typically not taught to do as blind people, which is move fast and kick really hard. We move too fast necessarily, might trip over something we didn't see, and then if we kick really hard, we're going to do some damage. So being able to make sure our bodies are good and prepared to be able to do these things is incredibly important, whether we are doing it recreationally, just having fun, or pursuing this at a really high level. And blind soccer is starting to grow a lot here in the US, and I know abroad is getting incredibly important as well. So in order to foster that, we need to make sure that we are good and prepared to do a great job in the sport and have a lot of fun with it. So starting out with feet and lower leg. Our feet are obviously very important when it comes to playing football, but we can't just think about how we have to manipulate the ball and run around. We also need to think about how our feet really align with giving us a lot more feedback, especially since our visual system doesn't work quite as well. So we need to make sure that our feet are good and functional, be able to spread out those toes, engage the big toes, flex the arches, have good balance, be able to bounce around really well and absorb forces, and then be able to take off in different directions all of a sudden. And that is going to be through different good foot strength and balance work. We have entire playlists about that here on the YouTube channel. Check those out, figure out what you need to work on the most, especially with the stuff that's more side to side and rotational, and give those a good go. You can use that for warm-ups, cool downs, extra workouts, things like that. Lower leg is also very important. When we think about below the knee, our ankle, our shin muscles, and our calves all need to be able to keep up with the demands of the sport. So being able to do some calf raises, some tib raises, where you're flexing those shin muscles, things like that are going to be incredibly important in order to make sure that your lower leg is healthy enough to take on the demands of the sport, whether it be practice or actually competing. Next is going to be our hips. Now, blind soccer is going to require some slightly different things compared to normal running or sprinting athletics, because we're having to move in multiple directions and do so really quickly. There's not a lot of striding out in blind soccer. Instead, we have to make sure that we're able to move and rotate really quickly, whether it be actually trying to kick and score on goal, or be able to move around with the ball. If you're dribbling the ball and trying to keep it with you, then that is a lot of small little steps, but also having to move in multiple directions. If you're playing defense, you're gonna have to be able to turn and do a lot of different like multiple direction things really quickly as well. So working on the side to side and rotational capacity of the hips is a unique capacity that isn't very well trained in our blind community, but you need to make sure to focus on in order to succeed at your best in this sport. Next up is agility. So obviously the feet, lower leg, and then proper hip mechanics work well with agility. And when we think about training agility, we got to do a lot of stuff, whether it be with one leg or a little bit less advanced 2 legs, or even warm up for 1 leg using both legs at the same time, moving in multiple directions, whether it just be straight up side to side, or almost like working your way around a clock, where you jump to 12 o'clock and back, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock and back, or pick different angles and stuff from there. We can also work on even being able to bounce and rotate our hips underneath us while keeping our torso facing the same direction. That's going to apply a lot for our different athletic endeavors, especially this sport, where we're probably going to want to keep our face or our chest pointed in a certain direction and still be able to manipulate our hips underneath that. So that's going to be incredibly important from an agility standpoint to work on that capacity, so then you're able to transfer it into practice and then transfer it into games. Again, I can talk agility all day, but let's move on to conditioning, which is going to be wildly important, because we're not going to be very agile, very powerful, be able to kick on goal very, very well, and with very much speed if we have no conditioning. If we really start winding down, we're going to be able to play very good defense. So we have to make sure that those abilities, our ability to breathe, keep up, and stay calm enough to be able to keep track of where the ball is, keep track of commands, different things like that. But that's incredibly important. So if we are in a fight or flight situation where we're just heaving for breath and all you hear is your breath and ringing in your ears, that's not going to be any good. So we have to make sure that we work on our conditioning appropriately in order to get ready enough to really exert ourselves and not let our fitness be the thing that's holding us back from exhibiting our skill. So when it comes to conditioning, you can do something like locking yourself into like an air bike, a rower, a skier, stationary bike, anything like that, and really pushing your cardiovascular system. I would do so for a long amount of time, 20-30 minutes, being able to stay at a conversational pace as kind of a base, but also make sure that you're playing in some intervals in there as well. One of my favorites is an audible timer, 10 seconds on, 30-50 seconds, nice and easy, and doing that for many rounds. So being able to do that, some sort of full body circuits, things like that, are going to be incredibly important to work on that conditioning, so then you have the base level of fitness to then be able to really thrive in blind soccer. I have a lot more resources that could help you with this. If any of these topics tend to resonate with you that you really want to work on, I probably already have a resource for it, so go ahead and reach out. You can comment here, direct message me on Instagram, or send an email to canenablepfitness@gmail.com. I do strength coaching for different blind sports, as well as individual programming for those just trying to get fitter. If you have any sort of requests, comment, those are always appreciated. I'm especially looking for other blind sports and activities that you are looking to get better at that I can help out with from a strength conditioning, biomechanical needs standpoint.